I want to emphasize what all the members have said. The BRRR process is probably one of the most important processes that we have on the calendar of this committee. Now, I'm going to touch on what Honourable Ghana said, and I think the Honourable Matai said she doesn't always agree with some of us, but one thing that this committee agrees on, that we're not going to be accused of not doing our job. And we were accused of that several times over the last few weeks, and a significant misinterpretation, misperception about us was created about what happened on the 5th of March. So that will not happen again in the future. I will not sit here and be disregarded as a committee by the Minister or the National Commissioner for that matter. We are not a rubber stamp of SAPS, CSPS, IPID or anyone else. We have an oversight role to play, and we are going to do that. So in future, and I'm going to go through the rest of the notes now, as many possible of these meetings will be in person, and the relevant persons will be there to take part in the process. We do not answer to Cabinet, so I don't care if Cabinet is in the time of the committee. This committee has asked several times to change programming. That hasn't happened. SAPS is in crisis at the moment, but the Minister chooses to go to Cabinet this morning. Nothing can trump, no Cabinet meeting can trump what is being discussed here today. And I want to be very honest that I think it's disgraceful that it's not taken as seriously as it should. And I know I'm preaching to everyone that is actually here, so don't get me wrong, I don't mean disrespect with it. I wanted us to walk in here this morning. I want to say congratulations to General Mosekile for the degree she obtained. There are so many positive things we can focus on, but for goodness sake, SAPS is in crisis at the moment. For the past 2 weeks, several members of this committee and of other committees have been sitting, listening about a group of adults that can't get along with each other, amongst other things. And I'm putting it very, very politely. It is embarrassing that the country is spending time listening to dirty laundry of a small group of people, while there are people on the ground that suffer trying to do the job. So, at the moment, I want to first touch on the absence of the relevant accounting officers today. We were only informed about the Minister and the National Commission not being able to attend yesterday. I only heard about it yesterday afternoon. That's not fair. We sat in that ad hoc committee last night. Honourable Matthijs, what time did you end up finishing? Yeah, 1 o'clock. I left at 12:15 this morning. And yes, I was 10 minutes late this morning, but we're here. There's no excuse for them not being here. So, back to Cabinet. Parliament is not a branch of the Presidency or below the Presidency or a branch of Cabinet. It's an independent arm of the state, and we've got a constitutional duty to hold the executive to account. And I want to tell you today, and I mentioned things, it's funny, I mentioned it in this room last time. When it came to, I'm scared of saying Philip because last time I was there, things didn't go too well for me and Honourable Schikkeling. But Philippi is one of the examples that was mentioned in this very room. And up to this day, it's not solved, but we were accused of not doing our jobs. The National Commissioner said we should read between the lines until eventually the members in the ad hoc committee pushed him last week to concede that there's nothing that this committee could have done with the limited information shared with us on the 5th of March. So we can't perform oversight in the absence of the relevant people. And with that, I agree with the Honourable Skosana, we don't disregard those that are here. But with the current crisis, it's important that we have all hands on deck. Just in terms of the crisis, all of you would have read through the Auditor General report confirming significant patterns of, let's call them challenges, with regards to something like procurement, and I'll touch on what that is just now. Now, a lot of these issues have built up. We discussed a lot of these things last year during exactly the same meeting, but I still haven't seen significant change. Now, what we've picked up, whether it's in the Madlanga Commission or in the ad hoc committee, it's always someone else's fault. It never stops with the accounting officer or with an accounting officer. It's always someone else's fault. Up until now, there is no one from across the board, from any faction, that has said that I own up for the mistake that I made there. That hasn't happened. So just in terms of the findings, and this is why it's so important for the accounting officers to be here. Let me read a few to you. 2.5 billion rand in irregular expenditure not dealt with, according to AG findings. 95% of the entire police portfolio's irregular spending sits unresolved in SAPS. It's a bit of an unfair statement because SAPS has a significantly bigger budget than all the rest. But the long and the short is that irregular expenditure increased by 140% in 1 year, from 270 million rand to 650 million rand. Largely because of ongoing violations of procurement matters and failed corrective measures. And I'll get to Tembisa just now. 466 million rand in uncompetitive and unfair tenders. Contracts awarded to suppliers who failed basic criteria while compliant bidders were disqualified. And I'm going to pause there. Because with something like Tembisa and Mr. Kat Matlala, several members of this committee, including myself, asked questions about Kat Matlala. We asked many, many questions, but it takes months to get an accurate answer. From those coordinating the answers, I can just imagine the frustration because you get sent from post to pillar or pillar to post just to get an accurate answer. The head of internal audit post has been vacant for more than 2 years, meaning SAPS has operated without that post for that specific time. The next one, potentially manipulated and duplicated crime data. The AG found duplicated and missing entries across multiple crime categories, undermining the credibility of national crime statistics. When did we ask about the GBV data? Honourable Schikkerling? 3 months ago. Honourable Matthijs asked. Honourable James isn't here. We asked about the leaving out of data of violence against women and children. Still not resolved. Let's move to forensic laboratories. DNA backlogs, from what we could see in the reports, have grown by 60%. Maintenance contracts for core instrumentals have expired and only half the required DNA testing lanes are functional. Last week I received a call from members in the Western Cape, LCRC. They don't have DNA swab kits. Everyone has expired. They don't have new ones. Now, we ask those questions, but it takes months on end to resolve, if at all. Unlawful detentions. SAPS continues to pay millions in civil claims for people detained longer than 48 hours without court appearances in direct violation of Criminal Procedure Act. 153 million rand network contract paid upfront with no services delivered. This was a material irregularity and has been under investigation for years, but there has been no recovery of funds. Failure of command and control. Detective commanders failed to verify